who's attacking our warships and why? What are we doing about it? I don't know. Let's talk to the ladies from Breitbart about this. They're the experts. I am not. Joining me now, Frances Martel, Breitbart News International Editor, and Christina Wong, Breitbart News Pentagon Correspondent. Christina, okay, let's start with you. We find out that in the Red Sea, one of our naval vessels and some commercial ships are being attacked. Okay, what does that mean, though? That's quite a headline. Who's doing the attacking? Did anyone get hurt? What happened?
Yeah, so the Houthis, they are a Shia militia group in Yemen. They've been locked in a civil war with the U.S. and Saudi-backed government for several years now. They attacked the U.S. destroyer and also commercial ships. And so what happened was several commercial ships were attacked, and a U.S. destroyer in the area responded. And while it was responding to those attacks, it was attacked by drones, and presumably armed drones, and the U.S. ship shot them down. So this is a severe escalation. It's apparently tied to what's going on with Israel and Hamas. The Houthis, they are Iran-backed. They back the Palestinians. There's a military spokesperson for the Houthis who specifically said the Houthis are attacking Israeli-linked ships in response to Israel's offense against Hamas. So the Biden administration and the Pentagon, they're trying to say, oh, these are just attacks against commercial ships. They're trying to separate them from what's going on and their support for Israel. They're trying to not widen the conflict, but obviously this is linked.
Okay, Frances, help me understand something. It will help many people understand this. Okay, so Iran buys these dirtballs, a bunch of drones. They use it to attack our ships. Why is this being permitted? Give us some kind of knowledge of the larger political landscape. Yemen is a dump. I doubt these people were able to stop us anyway. Why is this something that's being allowed?
Well, I think the most important material fact of the Biden administration regarding the Houthis is that in February 2021, the Biden administration decided to remove the Houthis from our list of foreign terrorist organizations. And the reason given for that was not that they weren't terrorists anymore. Blinken was very explicit that they were clearly terrorists, but we removed them from that list so that we could allow money to come in, because it would allegedly create more avenues for humanitarian aid for the Yemeni population, which is facing famine, cholera. It's a really horrible situation over there. But of course, what ended up happening is that the Houthis used that money to arm themselves, to recruit child soldiers, and to commit terrorism. So I just think that's the first place we have to start, with the bigger context of how are the Houthis this well prepared to create this much chaos in the Red Sea.
Okay, Christina, explain this to me then. The Navy, you say they stop all this. Is there a source beyond Iran where we can go to where these people are receiving these loads of drones? Where are these drones coming from? Shipped directly from Iran? How are we allowing these things to get into the country if they're being used to attack our people?
Yes, they are definitely supplied by Iran. These are advanced ballistic missiles that the Houthis do not have by themselves. So much like the Iranian proxy forces that are in Iraq and Syria attacking U.S. forces there, Iran has a vast network that they're using to supply all these proxy groups to create trouble for the U.S. in the region. And the U.S. is recognizing that Iran is behind it, but so far the response has been very feeble. It's taken out some ammunition dumps in Syria. It's taken a few hits at several militia groups in Iraq and I believe just Iraq now. So there's only been maybe a handful of responses in response to more than 74 attacks so far on U.S. troops in Iraq and Syria. And so the Biden administration is saying, oh, we don't want, so far deterrence has worked. We've surged all these assets to the Middle East. We don't want to widen this war between Israel and Hamas. That deterrence is clearly not working.
Okay. Francis, let's talk a little bit about this Israel-Hamas thing. I remember when this whole dust-up began, Hezbollah, speaking of Iran, they were amassing on Israel's northern border. We were told thousands of these militia types were amassing, that Israel was going to get spit roasted from both ends. And then the American military sent over 2 carrier groups, and Israel has not been spit roasted. Is that because we're there?
That's a big part of it, for sure. I think another aspect to it, maybe not a bigger one, is that Hezbollah is part of the same network as Hamas, of course. They get money from Iran, but they're a little bit competitive, right? Because Hezbollah is Shiite and Hamas is Sunni. There were pro-Hezbollah writers in Lebanon who were making fun of Hamas because Hamas leaders live in luxury in Qatar while, jihadis have to do the hard work on the ground. So I think there wasn't a really popular desire on the part of Hezbollah to risk it all on Hamas's sake. They were willing to make some threats. Hassan Nasrallah gave this big speech where everyone expected him to declare war on Israel, and then he just generally said he didn't like Israel. He didn't say anything new. So I think our presence there is a big deterrent, but there's also some unresolved tension between Hamas and the Shiite groups, including the Houthis.
Francis, let's talk for a minute because you have a story up about Israel and Ukraine. What's the connection there? Israel hurting Ukraine? What's going on?
Well, there's no direct relationship, but President Zelensky has said that he believes that there's a relationship in terms of the international attention. He has come out and said, only the blind can't see that all of this attention was put on the Ukraine war, and now it's been redirected, the Western attention, towards Israel. And that hurt Zelensky's effort to continue getting support, both monetary and military support, for his own war. And he's been very supportive of Israel. He was one of the first to come out and say every world leader should visit after October 7th. But he's also been transparently frustrated that while he has been positive about supporting Israel, there's also only so much that the West can do. There's only so much money, and he knows that there are going to be resources redirected to fighting Hamas that he believes would have gone to fighting Russia.
No. Christina, why does the Pentagon need $114 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Who knows? No one knows where this money is going to. It's over 270 million if you count beginning since 2022. It's a black hole. I mean, no one knows where the money's going to. It's very vague. There was a report put out by the Pentagon on extremism. I think there were like 80 something or less extremist instances out of 2 million active duty forces. Who knows where this is going? It seems like just part of the DoD grift. I mean, the DoD failed its 6th budget audit. If it needs money, maybe it should look at the DEI budget that no one knows what it's doing. So when the DoD complains about not having money, maybe they should just raid, DEI.